As we come into 2025, I think we'll see a continuation of companies emphasizing the intentionality in the in-office experience. And we'll see companies who put a little more emphasis on structuring their in-office policies. So instead of having as much open flexibility will be provided with intentionality. I like to believe that structured hybrid is a very common and practical approach to balancing the value of the in-office experience with the flexibility of working from home on select days and giving employees the expectations of these are the days where you have flexibility. These are the days where we want you in office to collaborate and work together. My first piece of advice for executives is to set clear expectations. Be really crystal clear on how you want to operate your organization and what is beneficial to your way of work. At Crafty, we're really clear on having a structured hybrid approach to our workplace, and we communicate a lot about why we're choosing to have that model that balances the flexibility of some days remote and balances the expectations around coming in office and working together and collaborating. The second piece is to be really intentional about what type of in-office experience you want to create for your employees, whether that's determining how folks are working together in the space and using the physical infrastructure, and also determining what type of food and beverage program you'd like to offer. Be really thoughtful about the utility of these experiences. So when we think about food and beverage and make recommendations to our clients about how to structure their program, we ask questions around what type of experience they'd like to provide. Are they looking to facilitate a breakfast experience? And that helps inform the types of products, the types of equipment, the types of layout choices and design choices we make in their space. Those questions about, will there be catered lunch? Will folks be bringing in? When do folks snack throughout the day? How will they engage with a centralized cafe or a centralized pantry versus decentralized micro kitchens? All of those things will inform the strategy of the food and beverage program.
I've seen the workplace change throughout this year as somewhere that folks are really looking to come as a way to have a better experience with their coworkers. And when I say better experience, what I'm thinking about is the ability to brainstorm quickly, come to solutions, figure out a game plan forward, go separate ways, and then come back together, continue to meet, come together, and work next to each other.
I've seen this with my friends, but I also know that the data supports that. I think this year the top reason people changed jobs was to get to a place where there's more of an in-office policy. And a lot of people like the remote work, a lot of people like some remote work, but I've seen a huge uptick within my network, but also across the market of people wanting to be in the office more. And for a lot, that doesn't mean 5 days a week, but really understanding the benefit of in-person engagement, understanding how food and beverage brings people together in these workspaces, and how that leads to better company performance.
I think there are some days where, you're kind of like heads down and you have projects and deadlines you need to meet. And I think those are great for remote days when you're kind of just like in the comfort of your own home office. There's not a ton of distractions. You can really just like headphones on, whatever it is that you do, and you just like heads down. Versus other days where there's a ton of meetings and there's, a lot more collaboration. I think that's best in office when you're with your peers and colleagues, and if there are projects that you're working on as a team, being in office together, you can easily just get things done versus like, hey, let's like look at each other's calendar and play Tetris with the calendars and try and get some time together. Whereas in office, you're just sitting together or, you're closer by and you can just ask questions instead of sending an email or sending a Slack, and you'll get faster live time responses. And personally, I think better engagement than a message online. A question may be asked and then it might be like probe another question. From there, you can actually get more out of one another versus just like a quick message back and forth.
One of the benefits of structured hybrid versus just hybrid is setting clear expectations on the days that you're in office. Because there's nothing more frustrating than planning to go in office because you want to engage with your colleagues, making the commute, and showing up in the places empty. And on the flip side, that might be the objective. You might say, I'm going to go in this Friday because I don't expect there to be a lot of people, and that's the experience I'm looking to facilitate for myself. I want to come in, get my coffee, get my snacks, get my beverage, and then go heads down and work and get a lot of things done that I wasn't able to do earlier in the week.
So what I like about structured hybrid is that when we're in the office, usually there's others on your team here to collaborate with, and you expect them there. And there's kind of a critical mass of people here so that you can whiteboard together and really like make use of the space and of being together.
Yeah, we get lunch here catered on Tuesdays, and like that's another benefit of being a little structured, is having enough people in the office to do something like that. One really nice perk to have lunch, but then also get to hang out with coworkers on that day. I think to Allison's point, knowing if I want to schedule a design workshop or something that people would be able to come in that day or would just be there is like really powerful.
Given that everybody is using the same systems for work, same email, same calendars, the people's work locations being listed overtly for me is helpful. Like if Vaibhav is working from home on a Wednesday, it'll be on his calendar that he's at home that day. It's like, cool, maybe I will do our in-person brainstorming on Thursday that week.
I'm a mom of a 4-year-old and an 18-month-old. One of my kiddos is immunocompromised. And so right now, the flexibility that I'm able to get so that I can be there when she needs me to be there is something that you cannot put any dollar sign around. Mm-hmm. And I am very conscious of the fact that like not every organization, not every role allows that level of flexibility. Right now, my role allows me to have that, and I'm very grateful for it.
And mine's more flexible on a day-to-day basis, where if my kids are sick or if drop-off just went a little bit slower than usual, I can break up the day how I need to. Literally yesterday I had to go home and pick up my kid midday because she had a tummy ache that didn't really end up being a tummy ache. But I was able to, leave, go get her, bring her home, and then able to just like finish my day on the couch instead of at the office.
I don't love remote work. I think I love that we've struck a balance, I think, at Crafty, and then also as we've seen like our clients strike that balance, and then just as United States, right? Flexibility for me means being able to have the communities that I need there when I need them, right? So it's really important to me and my daily routine to like wake up, have a morning routine, get dressed, leave for work, have a work commute, sit at my desk, right? And so being at home, like the fourth wall is broken so much by my dog and by this and by the plumber, and it's really hard to focus. And I also find that it is actually such a bonus in my day to be surprised and delighted by like snacks and beverages and this and that. Like at home, I'm not making myself a dirty chai at 3 p.m. Like that's a lot, but here at the office, I absolutely am. And it invigorates me for the rest of the afternoon. So remote work is awesome. And I think at different stages of your life, you really need to give team members that so they can have flexibility in the way that works for them. But flexibility doesn't have to have a one-size-all solution in the same way that being in the office isn't one size fits all, and then being remote isn't one size fits all either. So
yeah, the flexibility has come in really handy based on our schedules week on week. So there's some schedules or some weeks where my wife is out of town traveling for work. So then it helps if I'm able to get home early to help take care of the cat or do some extra stuff at home. Or maybe we are both traveling because we have to go to a wedding or we're going on a vacation, and having that flexibility. Someone was teasing me a few months ago because I was always coming into work with my suitcase, and it would either be for work trips or for personal trips that I'd leave from work straight to the airport just because it's a very convenient commute. And the fact that I was able to do that without worrying and having the mental load about like, oh, what will this person think? Or like, oh, how am I going to do all this? I'm able to build my whole schedule around that, and whatever that personal thing is able to come first. And everything else follows through. I'm able to do my work. I'm able to take care of all the things that need to get met. But just having the ability to change my schedule as I need to and come in on a different day or come in head at a certain time for a trip has worked out pretty well.
As we transition to structured hybrid, building in flexibility to your structure, even though that seems counterintuitive, is super important. So like we have 3 days a week in office, and one of those days our team members are able to choose which day works best for them. So even if you're giving structure considering what flexibility might look like for different demographics, different lives outside of work. That's been a really great way that we've implemented a policy, implemented a plan that's been really impactful.
I think this is a piece of advice that like I give with anything that we do within the people team. It's like, we are very lucky that we have a captive audience of individuals that can provide us a lot of information if we ask. And so taking the time, not make assumptions, but taking the time to like ask the individuals that are going to be making adjustments to their personal lives to be able to support the work needs, and understanding what does that mean for you? What's the type of flexibility that you need? One of the first things that we worked on this year was putting together a group of individuals from various departments, various regions, various walks of life to help us understand what were the needs. And we would meet on a regular cadence to understand what are the changes that need to be done when we move to this more hybrid structured environment.
Yeah, I think the biggest piece is making sure that folks are coming in together. And they're using that time, prioritizing that time to work together, and even just to hang out in terms of get lunch together, come together, brainstorm, ideate. There's so much magic that happens when people are just connecting in that personal manner.
I think you nailed it. Getting the most out of the time. If you're in the hybrid environment, getting the most out of your time on site and getting the most out of your time when you're remote. I think that's the sweet spot. And that's what the leading workplaces need to figure out.